And then I learned about Ring 96. 2 months ago, I joined this club. Last month, Cliff announced, hey, we're gonna have rope matches next month, and anyone who wants to perform, give me your name. So I said, I'll do that. And then 2 days later, I realized, I don't know any rope matches. So I found myself kind of stuck, but I did what any good magician would do. I got a coach. And I had a lesson with that coach. And he said, first thing you need is a rope. So I got a rope, one that matches my tie. And he said, for your first lesson, what we're going to learn to do is get a knot into the rope. And I said, I think I know how to do that already. He said, that's good, George, but that's not the way a magician gets a knot into a rope. And I said, I guess you're right. How does a magician do so? And he said, a magician puts the rope into a loop, and he looks around for invisible knots in the air. And when he sees an invisible knot, all he needs to do is throw the rope out and lasso it. That's pretty good. Can I try it? He said, yes, that's the purpose we're here for. So I looked around, and I then threw the rope into the air, but nothing happened. And he said, George, you didn't go anywhere near an invisible knot. Suddenly I realized, you know what, he was serious about this invisible knot. And so I looked around again, and I looked around with magical eyes, with my eyes a little bit farther open, with the idea of seeing something special happen. And suddenly, you know what? I saw an invisible knot. I threw the rope out, and sure enough, and so my coach said, all right, that's your lesson for today. You've learned to see invisible knots. What I want you to do is come back next week, practice all week, and bring a ring with you. So being a good student, the very next day I went out and got a ring. And I thought, I should practice something before my lesson. So as soon as I got the ring, I decided to learn how to use my mind to control the ring. Got it to rise. And I showed my coach. And I said, look at that. He said, that's cute. I said, cute. I decided not to tell him. It took me a week to learn how to do that. And he said, you know what we want to do with this ring? He says, is we want to be able to put that onto the rope. And he said, the way a magician puts a ring onto a rope, so they look at the rope, and they look for an invisible hole in the rope. And you slide the ring onto the invisible hole. And I said, wow, that's really nice. What are we going to work on next week? And he said, George, there's really no need for us to have another lesson, because you learned two really important things. How to see invisible dots and how to find invisible holes. He said, so for instance, from that, can you figure out on your own how to get that ring off of the rope? And I'm first thinking, sliding it, and before long I realized, you know, that's not what a magician would do. A magician wouldn't just slide it off the rope. A magician would look for an invisible hole in the rope and slide the ring right off. So he said, why don't, before your performance, why don't you try to work on a couple of other things on your own? So I thought, well, I've been able to put a ring on a rope, take a ring off a rope. What if I had a loose knot in the rope? Would I be able to get the ring, not just on the rope, but through the knot? So I thought, how would I do that? And of course, it's the same thing, isn't it? I just need to have the ring penetrate through both layers of rope. So I just look for the invisible holes in the rope. And I can pull it right through. And then for the very last thing, what I wanted to do what if I had the ring with a rather tight knot on the rope? So, if I go ahead and tie a knot into the rope, with the ring on it, what I wanted to see if I could do is figure out a way to make that ring jump onto the knot. And those holes in the rope are constantly moving. So if I look at it, time it just right, I should be able to pull that